So this is the Riese Müller Culture, brand new bike from them. It's really a lightweight urban bike, and I'm really excited about it. I mean, I guess the closest bike to this historically that they've had is the Roadster, which is another kind of lighter weight bike, but this is a little bit different. It has nice clean lines, kind of bold lines, something that Riese Müller is known for, but a little bit different design language, I guess you could say. It's meant for urban. It's kind of, I don't know, it feels like artsy, you know? It's got some like artistic type of vibe to it. And I think this bike is designed for a demographic that historically Riese Müller might not have reached as much. It kind of feels like a little bit younger, just the design of it. Totally new motor on here. This is the SX motor, or in the US we have the Sprint motor, which goes up to 28 miles an hour. It's Bosch's lightest motor, 55 Newton meters of torque, plenty of power, but it really gives the bike a kind of light, nimble feel to it, the overall weight of the bike. It's under 50 pounds, depending on the spec you choose. This one has the additional suspension fork and the suspension seat post. Those add to the weight a little bit. If you want to have the really lightweight version, you can get with the rigid fork and rigid seat post. It's available in 3 different drivetrains. So this is the Vario version with the NVOLO hub. So it's a continually variable transmission, comes with a Gates carbon belt drive, really keeps everything very clean. They also have another belt drive version, which is called the Silent. So that's more of a traditional internal hub. This CVT, it's continually variable. So kind of adjust, as I describe it, more like a volume dial. And then the other one, which is back here, that's the Silent. So that has an 8-speed internal hub. So has more of like a channel clicker, as I describe it. Then they have a touring version, which is more of a traditional derailleur, really well suited if you want kind of the more sporty version, the lightest weight version. 2 different frame styles. This is the standard frame. It has a little bit of a lower top tube than you might generally find, and it gives you a really upright seating position. This color is the denim color, but it's also available in a color called Biscuit, which I happen to really like. Both the standard and the mixed frame are available in denim, and then the optional color for the mixed frame is called Blossom. And this is the mixed frame version in the Blossom color, which I think is really nice, and pretty much everybody that's seen it so far has been a big fan of this color. You know, it just has an easier step through. And both the models are available in 3 different frame sizes. You have the 50 centimeter, which will fit riders from 5'3" to 5'9". You have the 56 centimeter, which is this one. It will fit riders from 5'8" to 6'1". And then you have the 62 centimeter, which will fit riders from 5'11" up to 6'7". So fit pretty tall riders. And I think overall this bike is really well suited for somebody that is riding in a more urban environment, wants something a little bit more sporty, a little lightweight, but still really durable and still kind of has that stiff feeling underneath you. I mean, that's something that you find sometimes in these lighter weight bikes. They kind of feel really flexy, but this really feels like solid. So I appreciate that. And the nice thing with this Sprint motor, it is on the lighter side, but it's also pretty fast. I mean, it goes up to 28 miles an hour, and it's just kind of simple too. I think that that's a nice detail about this. They really try to keep the lines pretty simple. I mean, this one has the basic Purion display, but if you want, you can have more info. You can use your smartphone to get more details, different things like that. Now, as with all Riese Müllers, they build the bikes to order in Germany, and I think that that's a really nice feature for them. And it's really what you would expect from quality design and engineering, and they select really high quality parts, and they kind of really are pretty detail oriented. A lot of companies traditionally just really try to find whatever they can do to make the lowest price point bike as they could. But I think Riese Müller really tries to focus more on like what is the best parts for this bike to achieve what you want to achieve. Let's get more into the details and then we can go from there. For the wheels on this bike, you have a 28-inch by 2 tire. So this is a balloon tire made by Schwalbe called the Big Bend tire. It's relatively wide. It's a tire that you could run at a lower tire pressure, which can give you some comfort. And that could be helpful if you choose the non-suspension version, or even if you have the suspension, just giving you a little bit of extra comfort on the bike. And they have a little bit of tread to them, but this is also a pretty common wheel size. So if you wanted to put different tires on it or ride it in a more aggressive terrain, you can certainly do so and swap these out. So something to consider there. It's an aluminum fender on here, pretty heavy duty and works well. Suspension fork, this is a coil spring fork, so you have adjustable preload. They got a through axle up front, keep everything really nice and tight there. Let's check out the drivetrain. So for the drivetrain on this one, it's the Vario, so it has the NVOLO continually variable transmission. Has 380 degrees of gear range. This gear system, you don't have steps like you normally have on a derailleur or a normal internal hub, and it just really has like a smooth transition, so you can set up your cadence or your gear range exactly how you want it. Really smooth, really easy to use. I think a lot of people really appreciate that. It does tend to be just a tad bit heavier than some of the other systems, so if you're looking for the most lightweight version, you probably want to look at the Touring or Silent version. Still super nice. One of the more popular drivetrains for us in our shop, really great paired with the Gates belt drives. Then you have the NVOLO shifter here, and you can kind of see on the display, so this is like low gear, easy to pedal. As you twist, it kind of flattens out, and the idea is it's showing you as you're going up a hill, you want to be in this type of gear, and as you're flatter, as you're catching more speed, you can kind of flatten this out. And the Silent version has the Shimano 8-speed internally geared hub paired with the Gates carbon belt drive. Really very low maintenance, really clean, simple to use. So a nice option for a lot of folks that want that. And the Silent version doesn't have a silent shifter, but it's silent in that it's got a silent drivetrain. 8-speed shifter up on the grip. Pretty simple. One of the nice things about internally geared hubs is that you can shift the gears when you're standing still, as opposed to a traditional derailleur when you need to be pedaling for that. If you wanted to have something a bit more sporty, more of a traditional drivetrain, you can opt for the Touring version, which is going to have an 11-speed derailleur. The nice thing about that, they're getting to be lower and lower maintenance. Shimano has specifically designed that drivetrain to last longer than they have historically, especially when paired with the e-bike motor. So really whatever you choose, it's going to be a pretty low maintenance version. One of the main differences with the Touring is that you're going to need to lube the chain occasionally, and maybe not as clean as some of the other options, but still a great option, and it really makes the bike even more lively. The motor on this bike, we have the Bosch Sprint motor, which in most other places you'll see the Bosch SX motor. It's the newest motor from Bosch, and it's the lightest weight as well. You can almost not see it from this side, so let's check it out from the other side. So you can see it's really nicely integrated into the frame, pretty compact, but still has plenty of power. It's 55 Newton meters of torque. Really, I didn't feel it lacking at all as I'd been pushing it through its limits over the past couple days. This motor system provides assistance through something called pedal assist. Basically, you pedal the bike, it provides assistance as you pedal. Inside the motor, there's sensors. It's sensing how fast you're pedaling, how hard you're pedaling, and how fast the bike is going overall. Based on this information, it's taking 1,000 senses per second. It's going to provide assistance. So depending on the assistance level, you can ride it with no assistance. And actually, this bike performs better than most without assistance, really no resistance in the motor. And since it's a little lighter weight, it really performs well. But when you want assistance, you can get anywhere from around 50% to over 200% assistance, depending on the level you set. And then you have all sorts of adjustability inside the Bosch app if you wanted to change how much assistance you have in different levels, loads of different options. It's becoming more and more connected and integrated. You also have options to add things like a GPS tracker to here. And for the battery on the bike, you have an integrated 400 watt-hour power tube. You have the charging port, which is right up here. Nice, kind of flips away. And then you have the option to add a Powermore battery. Actually have one included in here. Basically, you can just take a plug from the underside here and plug it in here. And so you got an additional 250 watt hours of battery. So that'll basically give you 650 watt hours I'd say for most people on the 400 watt-hour battery, you're going to see a range of somewhere between 20 and 60 miles. Then you can get another 60% range adding that Powermore pack, which is great. For the brakes on the bike, we have the Magura MT-A2. They're a dual piston caliper, really new brakes for Magura, specifically designed for urban e-bikes. Really slick designs, really nice looking calipers, and the brake levers overall are really slick. And they have a really nice feel to them with the rounded levers. I'm really a big fan of them. They feel really nice. It's a nice 2-finger lever. Operate it with a single finger as well if you want. This is adjustable reach, so if you have a smaller or bigger hand, you want it to adjust where the reach is. You have a little bolt right here which you can adjust that. Hydraulic brakes, really nice setup overall. And as we come up to the handlebars, you can see we have a really nice clean cockpit. All the cables are really pretty simple, and really like these kind of swept back handlebars. Got the ergonomic grips from Herman's. This is the Purion display. You can also get the Purion 200 display, which has a little display here, gives you a little bit more information. So you also have this little thing here, which is a mount for SP Connect phone holder. So if you wanted to mount your phone here, you can use the Bosch Smart System display on your phone, get additional information, you know, navigation, all that sort of thing. But I really was enjoying just the simplicity of not really having too much stuff in your face here. It really depends on what you're going for there. You even have some like little hidden things here, depending on how your bike is set up, but I ended up putting the bell down here. So you have this Nog UI bell hidden right under here. And you have loads of different options on this display, despite the fact that it's pretty compact, and try to keep it pretty simple here. And you can cycle through the different assistant levels here. And then when you have your smartphone, you can kind of control some different stuff on the screen inside the app as you're connected there. You have the option to turn on the lights on and off here, so you can hold that button down. By default, they might be locked on as they are on here, but you can change that as a setting depending on where you're located. And you also have the option for walk assist that you can basically push the bike up a hill. It just makes it a little easier and that sort of thing. And then you have the on-off button, which is on the top side here. The nice thing with this new smart system, it's pretty easy if you wanted to change to a different display. There's a bunch of different options. And so you can do that as well. So if you wanted to get, say, the Kiox 300 or 500, you can do that. Slightly larger color display, but I think the idea here is keep it simple with the Purion or Purion 200, and if you want to extend your screen, use a smartphone. While we're here, you can see, the cables are nicely integrated into the stem. So the saddle on this bike is a Cell Royale Essenza. It's a little more on the sporty side, so if you wanted to get a more comfort, wider saddle, you could certainly go for that. But I found it to be pretty comfortable, nice kind of firm foam. It's just something I think would work well for longer rides. This is currently mated to the suspension seat post, which is part of the suspension package. So it gives you a little bit of comfort there, and you can adjust the suspension on the seat post as well as the forks if you wanted to make it a little firmer or softer, but I found that this works pretty well. I mentioned the suspension package, but there's a bunch of different options as well. So you also have the option to add a rear rack. So this is also the MIK HD rear rack, which is a heavy duty rack. This can accommodate a child seat on the back, which is quite nice. So you can have a lightweight, simple bike, but it can still handle the 60 plus pounds of what a child seat might need. You got about 10 pounds for the seat and another 50 pounds for the actual capacity of the seat. So that's nice. And there's all sorts of different bags that can kind of fit into here as well. Outside of that, you have the optional lock. And overall, I think the touch points just work well, and it's just well set up as an urban bike. Comes standard with fenders, lights, really comfortable pedals, grips, everything like that. Well, I hope you found this video to be helpful. I really enjoyed checking this out, and I think this is a bike that you'll probably find me riding at times. I really like what they put together here. So if you have questions about this bike, you could leave them in the comments below. You can reach out to us. You can check out more details on our website, propelbikes.com, or Riese Muller's website. We'd be happy to help, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. All right, take care.